liberty and justice for all.
If the board would please pause for a moment of silence to consider the purpose of our meeting as we endeavor to do what is in the best interest of our students, staff, and community. And now, Julie, if you would do a roll call, please.
Luan Bouquet.
Here.
Ryan Carso.
Here.
Jessica Leonard. Jack Fisher. Corey Lefty.
Here.
Jeff O'Leary.
Here.
Chuck Pike.
Here.
And John Legowski.
Here.
Thank you. And Jack has volunteered to read the mission statement.
Delaware Valley Scholarship with our community stands committed to maximizing student potential, fostering lifelong learning, and promoting responsible citizenship.
We have a motion to adopt the agenda. Motion, Don, second.
Second.
Corey, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Hearing no objections, the motion carries. Just as a reminder, comments are welcome from the audience at any time. Just put your hand up, we'll recognize you. And just give us your name. Thank you. We have two presentations this year to Dr. Bell at this time.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Our first presentation is on our STEM program, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. A while back, the board had asked this, so tonight we have doing our presentation is Amanda Pope, who's our science department chair, Christine Marcial, math chair, and Tom Moran, who's our technology engineering chair. So they're going to step up to the plate and show us what they have. They have a lot of good stuff, and we're excited about it. You hear a lot about STEM in the media, and so we thought it would be great for you guys to get a direct look at all that we do in that area across the departments.
Well, thank you so much for having us. We're really excited to tell you a little bit about what our high school offers in terms of opportunities. So we'll just start off with identifying the courses that are taught in 3 different disciplines. With science, we have Science 9, we have Concepts of Biology, Biology, and Honors Biology. Then we have a series of different chemistry courses, physics courses. Some of our electives include anatomy and physiology, forensic science. We have Research Science Seminar, Astronomy and Geology. And you can see that there are 3 classes in bold. These are our new courses that will be adopted for this next year. There's Applications of Chemistry, Applications of Physics, and Citizen Scientist.
We also have high school STEM courses in engineering. Right now we have Introduction to Engineering Design, Principles of Engineering Design, Digital Electronics, Engineering Design and Development. And we have high school STEM courses in mathematics as well. We have our Algebra 1 track, which includes Algebra 1, 1A, and 1B. We have 3 levels of geometry, informed geometry, our geometry, and our honors geometry. And the Algebra 2, which is our next in our sequence. We have a new class last year, which was Introductory Statistics. We have our Pre-Calculus and our Honors Pre-Calculus. Our Calculus and our new class for next year, which is called Mathematical Modeling. Advanced Mathematics Topics, Analysis 1 and 2. 1 is Analysis. This is our elective for our seniors who are college bound. And our Computer Programming 1, Computer Programming 2, our SAT Prep.
That pertains to this AP in the STEM area, we offer quite a few AP courses. We're really proud of the fact that we essentially offer every AP STEM course that's available right now. So we have biology, AB, BB, we have AP Computer Science, we have AP Environmental Science, Physics 1 and Physics C, Electricity and Magnetism, as well as Mechanics. And we also offer an AP Statistics course. This is really something to hang our hat on. Different opportunities for students to take those highest level courses in the STEM classes. So what we'd like to do is just tell you about some of the different things that we're doing in math, science, and engineering as it pertains to STEM. One thing that I'm really proud of is the women of science competition. We've been taking groups of young ladies to Bedford, Massachusetts, where they've been competing in collaborative ways and with these different challenges, and we've found great success. And you can see the girls are really enjoying themselves too. This is an excellent opportunity for women to have a little bit more opportunity to experience some collaborative teamwork, as well as applications of different engineering. A little bit more local, attended the Women's Science Symposium. This is offering Wayne Pike Workforce Alliance and Lackawanna Sanctuary. We've been taking groups of girls here. This is something that's a little bit more for networking. They can see what different ladies are doing in the science and engineering and environmental sciences in our area. They get to establish connections, ask questions, and a little bit of opportunities that are available for them.
In our math department, we have a computer programming. We extend these programs also now to the younger students. So we're starting them in elementary, where we have 3 clubs. And in middle school, we have 2 clubs. And don't forget, we also have clubs in high school as well. Some clubs in the elementary school that we have right now are Girls Who Code. Again, we're trying to get the women in mathematics and science. And we have various program competitions that we do throughout the state. Some of the programming competitions that we do at the high school level are the ACM Code Jam and the IU20 contest here. Tomorrow that we do is the Bloomberg University competition and the University of Scranton competition. We also have what's called the Senior Science Research Seminar, Engineering Design Development. This is the program where our students can elect to do an individual project. Sure, that's either in science, engineering, or mathematics. And they work with their teacher the whole year on their individual project. The teacher and the student work together, and it goes back and forth as they write a paper and basically their own research. It's run by one of our math staff and one of our science staff here.
Our engineering club has been attending many different competitions, as well as our TSA club. And this is something where we've seen our level of performance just grow exponentially. Each year we get more and more competitive, and we get more first places. First year, regionally, we had 2 first places, 1 second place, and 6 third places. And we were able to, this past year, the first time, attend the state competition, where we actually earned 2 second places. That was something we were extremely proud of. See our engineering club grow with more and more opportunities for students to take these courses and see what's available for them. Another thing that we started last year is a partnership with Peak, trying to once again have students more involved with local areas, local community opportunities. So Pocono Environment, last year what we did is we went for a full day, a nice Saturday, and we did lessons on stream ecology, and then we took the other half of the day and we did volunteer work there. So a nice group of students, we went down and had a fantastic time, and we look forward to doing that again this spring. What I know I was blown away with by the first time I ever saw it was the makerspace room that we have in Bob Curtis' engineering classroom. He's put together where students the ability to digital design and then utilize tools like 3D printers and just cool tools and get to build things. And I had never seen anything like this before, but being able to, as department chair, look and see the different things that our engineering classes have for our students, it was so exciting to see these students working with these tools, gaining such confidence as they were doing so. I'd certainly invite you to check out that area if you ever wanted to step by the high school. It's definitely impressive.
So we have a 3D printer?
Yes, we do. This is just another course. So the forensics course is actually 2 semester courses, forensics A and forensics B. One of the really exciting things about forensics is that it offers Keystone credit. Students can earn credit. But this is one of those classes students really get a real life experience. The capstone of each of the courses is to investigate a crime scene. And so we just had some pictures of students doing their investigations to try to put together the story to solve crime. So it is me. So in addition to this, we have our physics CTE cross-curricular activities. So this is where we've had actually some of our classes, our physics, and work with our CTE students. This was really the inspiration for our applications courses. We've never had chemistry and physics courses offered to students who are a little bit more career rather than college track. But seeing students really throwing these two courses together was the inspiration for why don't we have that? So our applications courses will allow our career track CTE students to be able to connect some of the things that they're learning in automotive mechanics, food, nutrition, to our physics and chemistry curricula. And finally, we'll end with this on this slide series. This is our AP Project Lead the Way student recognition. So Project Lead the Way is something that we're really proud to be a part of. We offer 4 different consecutive classes in Project Lead the Way: Intro to Engineering Design, Principles of Engineering Design, Digital Electronics, and then Engineering Design and Development, which is our capstone course. So students have the opportunity to go all 4 years taking build engineering classes. But this is all part of the Project Lead the Way student recognition opportunity, where students, if they take one AP and one Project Lead the Way, and then one additional AP or Project Lead the Way course, passing with a 3 on the AP or a proficient in their end of curriculum exam in the Project Lead the Way course, they can earn this additional student recognition. This is something that has really inspired students to continue on with engineering and STEM opportunities as they go to college. We've seen so many of our students utilize these credits and our Project Lead the Way courses to actually earn college credits and get a lot of hands-on experience in engineering before they're in their engineering courses at college.
We also have Project Lead the Way in middle school classes as well, both English and DV. Yeah.
No,
Which is the actual
just that,
main one.
no, on the side. That's right over other side. There you go.
So STEM, obviously science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I don't know if anybody knows this, but they are changing this to STEAM to include art as well. And a lot of people, they say, art, how's art involved? Design is a big part, and having an artistic background is a big part of design, which fits right in with all this stuff.
It'll change next year again.
But STEAM is coming. Classes that we offer, the first 3 are materials type classes. We aren't allowed to say, we should never say shop anymore. It's materials, it's a materials lab, it's not shop. Introduction to technology, technology systems, and the first two are problem-solving based classes with a lot of hands-on critical thinking projects. Mechanical drawing, there's 4 classes in mechanical drawing area. Mechanical drawing 1, solid modeling, and advanced CAD applications. So these are some projects you'll see here from Introduction to Technology. This is a bridge building project. They're given a set of specs to follow. And from there, it's pretty much open-ended. As long as they utilize the appropriate amount of material, it's into the stress analyzer, which is a really cool machine that we have. The designs are pretty much up to them. Some drawings, some basic drafting, but they get to see structural design, structural analysis. They also, at the end, they determine where and why the structure collapsed. This is a mousetrap powered vehicle. It's out of a mousetrap, and these things are pretty neat. You'd be surprised how far they get down the hallway. And once again, redesign. They'll test them several times, and through each test, they'll come back and improve on their designs. Again, with a given set of specifications. Once again, incorporating drafting, some basic drafting stuff. Mathematics involved, they're calculating and converting feet per second to miles per hour. So we try to incorporate math wherever possible. This is a tech systems project that takes some of those other problem-solving activities that they did in the level 1 course, Introduction to Technology, and they go a little bit farther with it. This time, upon the stress analysis and the crane, actually design and rebuild the crane and retest. Again, on the rebuild, they also have to do, there's a little written part of it, which is them analyzing why it broke and determining what they're going to fix it. Again, given a specific amount of material to work from. Let's see, we have some flight travel, CO2 airplanes, and rocketry. Again, incorporating some calculations, some mathematics. Like we have a handheld altimeter, so their altitude, and then also calculating miles per hour. With the CO2 airplane, we also talk about center of gravity and lift. We incorporate science into it and show them, explain how it works. Half of them end up on the roof, and the custodians are always trying to find them, pull them through. Some of the neat tools that we have, some really incredible stuff that we have. These kids have the opportunity to work with. A lot of school districts don't have these type of tools that we have. One of them that gets used tremendously is the CNC router. That machine is just running constantly, and it's a beast. It's a commercial grade CNC router. The kids love it. Is unbelievable. You get to see some of the pictures, and also the laser engraver, same thing. The projects, the things that they're turning out are just amazing. Laser engraver. So this is a before picture of the clock faces in a second. So the actual time, the numbers were done on the CNC router, and then they actually then take and put a laser engraving on it. Tools that kids don't have the opportunity to work with. They go in, they use all softwares from Corel Draw to Microsoft Paint, and they will bring in their designs. Some actually create their own designs, and going back to the art thing. Finished piece, that's one of the faces for the clocks that they're doing in manufacturing. Manufacturing
Can I get one of
is
those with the Celtic lot on it?
stop in. I'm sure. And what's neat about this is that image is saved. It really is a matter of minutes. Bring it up and get it in a machine and get it cutting. It's really cool stuff. I mean, and some of you, I mean, I grew up with shop classes. I grew up with a handheld router. Try to cut that with a handheld router. You're extremely skilled. You'll and we fall back on, is that art lost? Maybe to a point, yes. But these are the jobs that are out there. Kids learning how to program these machines and turn this type of stuff out and mass produce. So somewhat, yeah, that is a lost art. But if we want our kids to be educated for the 21st century, this is the kind of stuff they need to know. Class, I mean, they basically set up a business. They do a complete business plan from market analysis. They set up the whole thing. They create 4 prototypes. They vote on the one that they want, and they go ahead and they mass produce. They set up an assembly line, and they turn that, depending on the project, to 50. It's a small project. So here's the clock. This is, unfortunately, Patriots. I didn't take the picture. We'll talk to Eric Thiel about that one. Here's the finished product of the clock. And again, they'll mass produce those. So it's not each student standing there doing one at a time. They learn the process. They set up a chart, and analyze the we have, and the whole process, the proper, what we call burn and run. This again, manufacturing class. This is some of the community incorporated projects that we're doing. I don't know if anyone has heard about it, but Port Jervis has a brand new trail system. It's amazing that we've gotten into over there, And we are actually going to be creating all the signage for the trails. So the students are actually taking the names of the trails, programming them into the machine, CNC routers, and cutting them out. Then we are also going to be laser engraving. We don't have them quite done yet, but the two logos, this is the Watershed Park is the name of the park. That'll be on one side, and Port Jervis city logo on the other end. Those will all be engraved on there. So these are things that you'll be able to see. You go and hike the trails or ride on the trails or trails. All these signs that you'll see incorporating an CNC router laser engraver. About 60 for now, but the park is going to grow. And again, safety, having those signs up makes the park much safer so people know where they are. This is, I think, one of the more impressive community incorporated projects we're doing. This is working with Gray Towers. Gray Towers approached us a couple of years ago, and they said that we have no electronic files of any of our outbuildings, all of which they eventually want to restore. So they came to us, said, sure, we'll come over. The kids get to work with their engineers, their architects on site. They do all the measurements. So you can see here's the kids walking around with the architects, and we do sketches, take pictures, then they come back here and do all the drawings at school. It's really neat. It's amazing stuff. We'll go probably maybe 2 or 3 times over the towers, and then over communications, talking, emails, again, pictures from them. We end up with an electronic files and actually going to use our drawings to restore the buildings, the outbuildings. This project will last several years. We've already done 2 of the buildings. This is the Milk House, which we actually 3D printed a model of it. That's pretty cool. We've done the Milk House and the greenhouse, and there are 12 outbuildings, and we'll probably do a building a year. So this is going to be a growing project for the year. Amazing stuff, amazing opportunity for the kids. This is another one. This was only a 1-year project, but this was the restoration of the turntable in Port Jervis, which I don't know if any of you have seen. It needs some work. It needs a lot of work. So I don't know if anybody knows Bill Schill, local historian, personality. He came to us with an idea for a concept drawing. So our student met the whole site, came back with their measurements, their sketches, pictures, and they created a concept drawing. Different from the Gray Towers project, or the Gray Towers project, their actual working drawings. This is for Bill Schill to take to the town council or whoever he's going to try to get the rest of the money for. He'll take these concept drawings to them, so they have a really good idea of what he has in his head. The drawing there is just waiting to, I guess, get the money. But that, again, for our kids to go out and do that kind of stuff. Just in general, the use of CAD software. CAD software is everywhere in industry and technology. From level 1 mechanical drawing, we also use it in the middle schools as well. From level 1 mechanical drawing, Architecture, we use software called Revit, which is a high-end architectural software. Solid modeling, we use Inventor, which is like a mechanical engineering type of software, engineering and design. All very high stuff. So you can see some of the projects here from solid modeling. This is an architecture project, and then just some basic 2D drawings in regular AutoCAD, mechanical drawing 1. And then obviously advanced CAD applications. Even use a virtual reality, so that is huge. Video game design, very close to video game design. Use of 3D printers, I know everybody's, 3D printers are huge. So you like to get our kids as much use with the machines so that when they leave here, use one of those, and it's just like second nature. They know how to use it already. Again, from middle school up to the high school, the advanced classes in high school, we're using 3D printers. I think that's it. And we would have brought some examples and drawings to model, but you guys can be firsthand anytime. Come on in, let us know. You'll be really, really impressed. They impress me. That they turn out, you'll look at it and you go, "This is a high school kid doing this." It's amazing, really amazing stuff.
I'm really impressed. And I just love the idea of you are articulating your purpose and great tours
Yeah, it
to
is
the
really.
community.
Yeah, it's very. The opportunities they have are amazing.
Yeah, we actually met with Rutgers 2 days ago, and one of the comments he said is they're now retrofitting a lot of their buildings to include maker spaces,
Mhm.
things like that. So it just goes to show how advanced we are and how far it's.
Yeah.
One thing in STEM also, we've seen an influx on the at the county, the community college over there is people wanting cybersecurity. And courses we did actually was we took a computer classroom and have a self-contained network in there now where they can introduce viruses into the classroom, hack in, fix things along those lines. And that was all Perkins. So it's interesting. There's a million different things we can do over there. Understand?
Thank you. You are to be commended.
I believe the original STEM acronym was created to describe charter schools that had a focus on STEM. And the students that those schools attracted were, obviously interested in the STEM field. And they had a real concentration on those topics. Seems to me that we have enough offerings here at DB that if a student wants to concentrate in the sciences, they can go a long way down the line with these courses, all the way up to the college level courses, which is awesome. Tell me about the condition of the science labs right now.
There's great diversity as it pertains to the science labs. We Well, it's true. We have our AP chemistry lab was rebuilt and redesigned 2-3 years ago, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's stunning. It has areas for lecture and direct instruction, but around the classroom there are dedicated space as well, wearing gas and everything that you would need to do any lab in AP chemistry. So that's really exciting. My AP bio classroom, not nearly as elegant, but at the same time, it serves the purpose for what we need to do. Could we amend? Could we elaborate? Absolutely. There's always a desire that, but I would say that right now, most of our offer some, but could definitely be developed much further. We have 2 additional chemistry classes, and one, it's got the lab and the direct instruction sort of one, all in one. And it's difficult for instruction when you have students that are sort of facing each other and don't have the opportunity to face forward. So that classroom certainly could use some attention. The biology course classrooms as well. Our desks are electrified, which is nice as we run microscopes and things like that, but some of our classes are not. So it's a great diversity, and I think teacher creative in the different ways that we share spaces, utilize spaces, and utilize the tools that we have available to us. I mean, if you want to talk about making them even better, I'm certainly all ears. But I think that that first chemistry classroom, an outstanding modification, and if we can continue to utilize that as a model, it would certainly be of great value.
Why was that modified? Was that sort of a plan?
When we had our last CapEx, which was summer 12, 13, 14, that was one of the reasons they identified, because we were using it for AP Chem, we were also using it for senior science research seminar. So we decided to tackle that one. That even predates me.
The board took a tour for facilities, and we walked into the chem lab, and Marie Curie was. Look at that. So the board made a commitment at that point that we needed to upgrade that lab. And I think it would be a good idea for us to tour those spaces again, pick up more timelines as to what needs to be done, so I can wait a couple of years.
I certainly believe our makerspace is a great start, but there's way more that can be done in that area. And Bob Curtis, who is sort of the dedicated teacher there, he has done a great job with the small space that he has available. But there are so many opportunities to elaborate on that space. I know our AP Physics classrooms, they're pretty rudimentary as well. Once again, we have fantastic teachers who work within the constraints of their room, way beyond what you think that room could offer. But there are always opportunities. I'm sure teachers would be very excited to share with you some of their vision for that.
Well, that's, yeah, I mean, the programs are spectacular. I really commend you all. It's great stuff. But I hope that we would consider, you know, we want to make sure our facilities keep up with the, because that's constantly advancing.
Absolutely.
Sure.
The biology laboratory, you say you could elaborate and amend. What would you elaborate and amend?
That's a fantastic question. I would certainly love to have the opportunity to have something similar to what we see in the chemistry classroom, where we have dedicated lab space and then dedicated instructional space. It allows students to do a little bit more collaboration that where they could use so it's not back to the side of the classroom to get to the spigots and then back to their desks. That sort of thing would be.
So you want a lab area that has more vision lighting, and you want a laboratory for whatever you want.
Absolutely. I mean, that's easier to set up. It would be a lot easier to input more labs into the class as well. So I've actually moved away from a lot of wet labs simply because the facility doesn't do it as easily. But if I had that lab space, I certainly could see utilizing a few more wet labs.
You need things like gases there.
In biology, no, I wouldn't see that. I also could say our environmental science classroom is a very, very growing plants, and she's doing a whole slew of different types of activities, and she's got a very, very, I mean, it's a postage stamp size room. So
that room with the 3 fans at night.
And how many students are in that program?
How many students? So AP Biology is approximately 53 students this year, and I usually range between 50 to 60 students, but I do have a goal to continue building those numbers. I think it's a great program to offer. I think we have 4 AP or 3 AP and 4 AP Environmental Science courses classes. So we have a lot of students who are interested in taking the course, and so making amendments to those rooms would certainly reach and affect many students.
So you just need basic plumbing there, you need electric, you need decent lighting.
It might be also space. That might be a big thing. If we look at how the chemistry, the AP Chem classroom is set up, it's quite a large room that really, because of the space that it has available. My classroom's smaller, so it might be difficult to try to do something similar in there.
I work in a lot of pharmaceutical places, and I go into when they take out the laboratory space and
Okay.
the new space, and like Avon Cosmetics down in Suffering, we did their building. And what they do is the new cabinets and stuff that are actually out there, the workspace, the workstation areas, they incorporate so many things into it that even though you have a small space and maybe it's a finite space, you can't expand on it at the time, the workstation that are about, and they just make it so much easier for the technicians to work in that area.
That's great. It would be interesting to see what our engineering students could do. You know, I know that you guys work a lot.
Yeah, we've drawn up plans for home ec rooms for the new guidance, when guidance moves over by the office. We drew up the plans for that. So we're always taking projects, and I can't tell you how many projects that we've done in the drafting classes and that Eric Thiel has done in the materials classes. I mean, I couldn't even tell you, I count them. Teacher comes in, hey, we need, and Eric, sure, we'll do it. Yep. Tells the kids do it. It's really cool stuff.
It'd be really exciting to see the ownership that our architecture and our drafting students could have.
Oh, yeah, that's
that
something
impact
we would.
as well.
That's something we would definitely do.
Yeah.
Now, like water, is there anything like the ionized water?
For the labs that I generally do, no, nice. I got a regular H2O is good enough for the labs that I do. So
just has to be essential.
But you mentioned 53 students in AP biology. Is that 2 sections or?
I teach three sections of it
sections,
this
right?
year. Yeah,
Okay, so-
generally 3 sections each year.
That's not really just an upgrade.
I suppose you're right. I haven't thought of it that way.
Thank you. I just wonder how, over the years, heard a lot about, obviously, the mine. I wonder how these two, STEM and OM, fit of it.
I was going to say, we get a lot of students that are at the same, is more broad, I would say. We still have some great OM teams that start right at the elementary school and move right up to the high school.
Sorry,
So
I'm having trouble hearing.
that's okay. Our OM program is just as strong as ever. We have programs starting at the elementary school, middle, and high school level. Our engineering programs are more specific. So my department does the computer programming. You know, we both do the engineering program with all 3 of us and Bob Curtis, and so it's still there.
Yeah, I just wondered whether OM led to more interest in.
I'm sure there's sort of a, piggybacking effect that as students are interested in OM, the opportunity for them to continue to develop those skills in our engineering courses and vice versa. So I think that they really have a reciprocal benefit.
A lot of those kids that are in OM and Science Olympiad, they have that mindset to take these
Right.
kind of classes. So you'll see the, critical thinking kind of stuff, creativity, hands-on
I think
problem solving.
if you have the opportunity to get over to West Point, we just did the science labs over a few years ago. I think that's pretty much, you could probably get in there to see that. Some people over West Point must be letters out. Might get some ideas to.
Excellent, thank you.
Because that is open to the public.
Thank you. And the endless list, I'd love to hear what the students have done. All the various projects that I know just kind
I
of
could
get
stand up here
lost
for
in.
hours.
But
I know Jimmy and Pete, take as much time as you want, they said.
write it down and send, I'd like to see a list of what some of those projects
Okay,
have been.
okay.
Because we
And
have
like
not
you
kept
said,
that
the
information.
students would love for you to also visit also.
They're
Yeah.
so proud
They're
of what
so
they
proud.
do. They take such ownership.
And it's all around the school. Plays and cases, it's all around the school.
Walk down the white hallways, we call it, the M hallway, you can see all the drawings that the kids have done. And you'll double take, it's that impressive.
It's most beautiful when you see the students really doing it themselves and explaining to them the ownership that they take it's fantastic.
Did any of those clock faces ever get finished?
Yeah.
The clocks?
Oh, yeah, yep, yeah, they'll be finished. I mean, there's only 3 days left, so. They're gonna have to be finished shortly.
With the collaborative effort that you have between STEM and CTE, which seems to make a whole lot of sense,
Mhm.
is that an opportunity if they are in their labs very short on space? We've got that one area in the new CTE thing that we've still question mark on. Is there an discussion behind the scenes of if those can work together in that space?
It probably depend, I was thinking that too, when we started talking about makerspace, because we gave Bob a closet, he turned it into makerspace. I mean, literally, one of those spaces could be makerspace on itself. Both Eric and Tom from the tech department are moving down to that wing already, and Bob's engineering class is right around the corner, in what we call the S wing, which is out. So there's a lot of things we can do. I mean, we could grow this without adding another. We could grow this and occupy all that space without adding another program. Literally, because there's so many and for all these programs. It's really crazy. It's
So
awesome.
do these programs come under Perkins in any way? Is that?
No,
No.
Because they're not CTE.
There's no way to join them?
Well, see, the problem is the kids who are taking these things, their schedules are so packed. They file with me with Christine, and they might be taking something with Tom. They probably have something with Kevin DeVizia too. They don't have 3 periods a day to get on.
Because I know there are different levels of funding, and to reach that level, I didn't know. But that's something that you all talk about and come back to with that information.
Because we looked at some of the tech offerings and some of the engineering offerings. Could we do them under the CTE umbrella? And we were afraid we would lose a lot of our kids because their schedules are so packed with so many AP courses. They don't have 3 periods. They got a period. And I want to go and take this course, whether it's solid drawing or it's architect, whatever they want to take that course with Mr. Moran, but they don't have more than one yet. Because they're in math, they're in science, they're in AP social.
Foreign language, music.
Yes, foreign language, music.
Don't forget about those two.
And those things are
The
so big.
sophistication that we need to see our CTE following, we went that direction for CTE.
Well, maybe we can arrange to see those.
Mhm.
Tori.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
I'll write myself a note, because we can do it in short order. We can schedule, we just have to find where people can find time. Because you just see it in action. You want to see an empty space at night. It's so hard to tell what goes on there, so.
Boyfriends, Don and I did over some really elaborate equipment, TE, and it also came on.
We got to use some of
Yeah,
it too.
yes.
Mhm.
And
Weren't very successful.
the 2 disciplines were combined.
Oh, they were. Yes. It's amazing.
For the engineering classes, what classes are students giving up where they choose to take them?
I have 2 sons. My son is now in Penn State Engineering, and I have a sophomore in high school who's in the engineering program right now.
We just talked about this.
We just talked about this, yeah. He had to give up band to go into engineering because it just didn't fit in his schedule, because we also, in my family, we just love languages. And we love to go to different countries, and we try to give our kids. So we said you have to take a language as part of our family. So he had to give up band to take his engineering classes, because he had to take his, his math, science, English, social studies, and his electives are done. And I made him take, which class did I make him take? Tech,
Was it materials class or?
the one where you make a clock.
Oh,
I made him
that's-
take that because
Introduction
I
to
said he's
technology.
very book smart, but he would cut off his fingers with a saw. So I made him take that. He learned so much.
I'm using the CNC.
Every day he would come home and my husband and I would say, let's hear some fingers.
They still do work with the regular tools. They do use.
Well, the obvious solution is to extend the school day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, add 4 more periods to the day.
I'm sure the teachers union would agree readily.
In seriousness, we did shorten the period year past.
Yeah, we used to have
Yeah.
8
8
periods,
periods, yeah.
42 minutes, 3 minutes to pass. So we went to 7 periods, 46 minutes to life, and 4 minutes to pass. Because as we kept going, spin down to the C and the E and the F, you can't get, it's hard, you can't get there in 4 minutes now. We have to give kids special dispensation to get from the ceiling all the way over to tech.
And I can speak, that's actually a challenge that our AP physics, chemistry, and biology courses really have to deal with, is that we have less time, we don't have that dedicated lab time, and it is difficult to be able to condense or break up effectively that you really do need more time for. You just don't have. So I do hear that from my department, and I feel that way myself in teaching AP Bio, that sometimes it would be really nice to have additional time, but you've got to be really creative with scheduling within the constraints that we have.
Aside from OM, that possibly could utilize some equipment, I don't know if they're permitted to, but are there any other clubs or any after-school activities that a student participate in who's not taking a class, but would have, extracurricular activity that maybe they will utilize some engineering technology?
Buckhurst
Well, we
is
have
engineering.
club,
the engineering
yes,
club.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's no class requirement. I mean, anyone can be a part of that club. Of course, it's going to be students who are probably more engineering geared, so they are more likely to take the courses that we offer in engineering, but that is, it's quite a large club as well.
Half year, full year, that club?
It's full year.
Full year?
Yeah,
How many participants do we have?
over 40. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's a big club, and they meet every Thursday after school. They're really
And
dedicated.
we
Yeah,
have a
Bob does a
Caribbean
great job.
club as well, that goes to many competitions. competition having to go. And we send, I want to say we send at least 7 programmers to college here. 3 of them have actually come back. They're just so excited because they're at that level where they've taken their APs, they've taken their programming classes here, and they're just at an advanced level, and they have such a great opportunity when they start as a freshman in college.
I think if you take Corey's model and get a dedicated network and offer virus challenges, may spark a lot of interest.
The Project Lead the Way curriculum does have other courses and other areas that we are certainly interested in investigating. There's bioengineering engineering, and that's something we don't yet offer, but we'd love to be able to offer. I mean, that's something where, of course, we're going to need funding, we're going to need staff, we're going to need a lot of resources, but they're within Project the Way, such an enormous opportunity for us not just to do mechanical or chemical or physical engineering, but a whole slew of different types of engineering. And it's just a matter of continuing to build that curriculum and look forward.
The work between the engineering and the key. I can't stress that because I've been dealing with this in the field for 4 years. I'm getting old. I'm almost 4. What we have every year is we have engineering students come in through my union, through the corporations that I work for, through the construction companies. And what that does is, over my experience and what I've seen in my own school, is everything can work on paper, like you said, the design of those bridges until the stress test comes. And we have a lot of engineering students that we work with now, but there's an awful lot of them that don't have it in the hands because it works in the paper and not on the hands. And then we have the people on the other side, the tradesmen, the tradeswomen, who work with the hands. But now you'll go up and ask, how much is that you'll lift? Say 40,000 pounds. And you say, well, what's a 1-inch steel choker rated for? And they said, but we lifted 40,000 pounds before Jack lifted. But they have no idea the whole. So when they say, and the company, it's the 4th largest construction company in the world, you see that they're graduate students, they're 23, 24, 30-year-old down. They send them out in the field to work with tradespeople. It makes them a better engineer. It makes them a better tradesperson.
Sure.
And that is the future that I'm seeing an awful lot. You know? They really, corporations today are trying to push those 2 areas and combine them together. Because, it's not like when I first started.
Yeah, they do some of that in our classes where, in my classes, but yet in the materials classes, they use the stress analyzer. The models they build, they put them in the stress analyzer and they break it. And again, on that. So they do get a little bit of both worlds, obviously, not the level you're talking, but they get the idea. They get the hands-on, yes, not just the paper, but the actual physical product.
But your students, the level that I'm talking about, your students will probably be there in less than 10 years. So more than it really gives them advantage.
Oh, sure.
When they get out into the field. Not all schools are doing what you're doing. And I see that. I'm delighted because when I first got in, I'm 54 years old. When I first got in my teenage years, the 2 worlds were this far apart, and now they're really together. And how much better it is, because I've seen over the years, how much better this is this way.
And 3D printers too. I mean, they create virtually, and then they can make the model. Now, it's not quite the same, obviously, but they do get to see an actual physical model within a couple hours. It's really cool stuff. It's really amazing.
That's very good. Definitely with the CTE of the engineering, I would really stress. When I see that, I love it because I know how important that really is. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Next thing was we'll come visit.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll start matching calendars tomorrow. I'm trying to figure out
That's fine.
Yeah, whenever it works.
We're taking team orders.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very interesting.
Oh, 8 period.
How about that one?
I object.
We're gone. Good night, guys.
All right, our second presentation is another request that the board had made a while back. I think when we were doing budget last year, there was a conversation about just the board would like to be more aware of the things that we are. We talked about energy conservation, we talked about lights over to LED and replacing boilers and using natural gas and all the different things. So Chris and Marvin had worked on just sharing some information with you tonight to kind of bring you into give you a better idea of all the things that are going on behind the scenes that you wouldn't see if we didn't take the time to stop and pause and share it with you.
Okay, we're going to talk to you tonight about our work order system for maintenance and repairs and our preventative maintenance work order system. Chris is going to get into the nuts and bolts and the components of each system, but I'd like to tell you why we developed them. Many years ago, when we first came to DV, there was no system. Work orders were assigned by Post-it notes, phone messages, fax, or get on the CB radio. You do that 30, 40 times a day. By the end of the week, you don't remember what happened on Monday. So we wanted a system that we could track and keep a handle on what was required and requested of us. The other thing it gave us, we wanted was accountability. So each job is assigned to a particular individual. Some of the hours it's been outstanding, what building it's in, all those kinds of things. So it gives us accountability by maintenance person and custodian. Are you following up on this, and is the job getting done? So the I was trying to was to reduce downtime. Preventative maintenance, as Chris is going to tell you, is designed to preserve the equipment and give it longer life. Downtime is disruptive. The education process, it's costly. So one of the components of building these programs that I wanted was to reduce downtime by tracking what's going on by building, by piece of equipment. Other component was I want to be, my background is in business, and I treat you folks and the teachers and the coaches and the administrators as customers. You know, you put in a work order to get something done. You know, you're my customer. I want to get that done for you as quickly as I can, as efficiently as I can. So I want to reduce the respect from putting in a request to completing a request. These programs allow me to track that and keep people accountable. The last thing, and Chris is going to talk about, is improving the life of the equipment. Through preventative maintenance, it can range from simple things, changing a filter or changing a belt, to on a motor or changing a compressor or something like that. But it gives us more life out of an expensive piece of equipment. As you witnessed by the CapEx program in 1969, that still are in very good condition. They may not be as efficient as we'd like them to be, but they operate, they don't break down, they're clean, and they're maintained. So these two programs that Chris is going to get into, those are the reasons why we developed them. More productive and to overall components reduce our costs. Yes?
Good evening. So just a little bit of what preventative maintenance is and our work order system. Preventive maintenance, it's actually a process in which we maintain equipment on a scheduled basis that we hope to counteract any future issues that we may have. So we stick to a schedule that is either weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. And that's when we took a look at every piece of equipment in this district, in all 8 buildings, and really just put that in a list and wanted to quantify really what we have so we understood what we have, and then we're able to to put some numbers to it. What we may do in this, we may test the equipment, make adjustments, change belts, change filters, oil, anything that can be done to this piece of equipment to extend our ultimate goal is what we do in the preventive maintenance. Why did we do it? Because we really wanted to mitigate our costs. When we got into this, we were really purchasing stuff on a whim. It would be, okay, we need these belts, and we would order belts, or we need these filters. Yes, we would have our standard stuff that we would have, but nothing was, we didn't have an inventory basis, or at least put our vendors on notice to make sure that they had these supplies in stock when we did it. So we really wanted to come up with a program, and what we did is we actually worked with a third party, with Gina and the technology department, and we actually built our own in-house computer-based system. We felt it more tangible for us to house it internally and be able to operate it at our own pace, as well as define it and set the parameters that work best for us. Our ultimate goal is to extend the equipment that we have in this. Why did we start this? We determined that there was definitely a need within the district. That was certainly, whether it's purchasing, saving money, or whatever that may be, the overall accountability of it. We determined that was our need that we needed to. We went into each building, we broke it down as its own separate place, and just worked back from there for every piece of equipment, which we now have over 700 pieces of equipment in this database that we have, that is seen again, early, semi-annually, annually. We got every piece of equipment. We took model numbers, serial numbers, who it was made from, recommended maintenance schedule, whatever it may be. We all have that in the database. So when it's printed out and goes to our technician, need on that piece of paper for that piece of equipment. The other thing it allowed us to do was actually go and label each piece of equipment. Our rooftop units, if we had a new maintenance person, and we'd say, go up and start working on rooftop unit 1, or 15, or 23. Sometimes they had no idea which one it was. So they gave us we actually went through and labeled every piece of equipment and the area that it's located. So if you were to take a work order and we gave you a map, you'd be able to find a piece of the equipment. The other thing we realized is some of the equipment when we first started had never been seen before. And I mean, that's a real undertaking when you find things like that, and you find filters in a classroom that had never been changed before. That can get bad, but that has all changed, and hopefully for the better, and we know that it has. It just actually made, again, importing parts and different things like that easier for us, and our new maintenance building as well, that will be able to house some of this stuff. We also wanted to get at least every piece of equipment seen once a year, and that was our goal that we have done. Create a long life backbone of the whole program. Even though we have all of that equipment, it's actually the technicians who do the daily work. You have Paul Gavoyle and Frank Navarro, Edsel Romer, Jason Vandertorn, Joe Buckner, Dan Conklin, Keith Dacavino, Mike C., Terry Baker, Chris Mady, and 30 Stones. Those individuals at this district are very important to keeping the operations of this facility and plant moving in the right direction. What we also did then we have the maintenance, then we wanted to get break order system. As Marvin said, we used to have Post-it notes. There used to be green pieces of paper that people could fill out, and it just was a hassle. So when we switched to our new website company, SchoolWire, they had a separate piece which was called the Assist. What we did with that, working with Gina, we added the technology portion to it, as well as custodial, fields and grounds, and transportation. Every single employee in this has a log on, email as well as the work order system, and they could submit a work order. It puts a name with what the work order is, a location where the work order is being requested, as well as what they're going to need when they go to the work order. Reply instantly via email, or we can actually send somebody out there and get working on it. Technology more can work on their end, move from a bad computer room, and if something has happened, sometimes or majority of the time they may have to go there, but any software issues, they can work from behind the scenes where facilities will actually go to. Need to go. So again, the 6 categories that any employee can put a work order. Custodial Cyber Academy was just recently added because we do have kids that are at home and may have computer issues. So we actually, Gina came up with an idea that, hey, that needs to be its own work order system for my people. So we can track that as well for what we're spending on that. Building ground maintenance, technology, transportation. Then you have up to 1 to probably 30 different subcategories for each one. So if you go into custodial, you have floors, doors, windows, etc., all the way down that could be in each of those subcategories. Or pick my computer, you have a monitor, screen, keyboard, different things. It's just a wide variety of different subcategories. Marvin approves all the work orders for the facilities in operation, and Donna McCooey approves and assigns all the work orders for the technology. For 2016, there was roughly 5,500 work orders submitted, 3,000 of which were technology, 2,500 of which were Marvin, and that included his 700 pieces of equipment for the preventative maintenance. For Marvin's group, he has roughly 90 currently outstanding for 2016, which is about 3.5–4%, which is a pretty good year. And I think if you ask the principals, I would hope that they would say that the response time on work orders has helped tremendously. Preventative maintenance went into effect in 2008. August of 2008 is when we started that program. Work order system through SchoolWires came on board in August of 2010. To give background of that. Energy savings, what we've done. Marvin had a electrical submeter at the middle school in Dingman's, which has saved them roughly $24,000 in electricity costs, and he's adding those submeters now at the other 2 schools at Dingman's to make those quantifiable numbers as well. CapEx expenditures, which we've done for pretty much the last 9 years here. We've done some type of program. We've done the whole building envelope, windows, doors, roofs, anything that we can do to make a building more energy efficient. That's what we have to do as part of the CapEx. We also try to add new HVAC controls to make sure that everything is just, it's run mechanically, can be run from a computer backbone that our maintenance staff can from the handheld screens.
The really neat thing about that is having the digital controls, and you can do it on a laptop or a handheld. We can take the temperatures up and down as we need it, and we don't have to run around to every room. So at 6 o'clock at night, we can drop the heat in 300 rooms if we want, just like we shut computers off. Yeah. One night we were in the auditorium, it was beastly hot. I sent Marvin a text. Marvin texts one of the technicians, Keith Agavino. He's sitting home on his couch, pulls up his phone and turned the air, got the air moving. I mean, these are, so you save money. There's also the convenience factor. 700 people in the auditorium, and they know you have air conditioning, that's hot. So that's the efficiency part, but also the convenience part too. Sorry, Chris.
No, absolutely. The other thing that we would like to do is replace the boilers, which are definitely a higher efficiency, which save us some energy there as well. LED lights, parking lots, new elementary school are areas that they have been replaced with LEDs. And then you also have in the classrooms at DVES, which based on the sunlight in the room, calculates the lights that are used within the classroom. And then anything that anybody may have, Marvin or Gina is always willing to listen to whoever may have an idea, suggestion, A few years ago, we actually looked at solar power. Everywhere there was a big movement of solar power, 55 acres down below the river, but it was in a flood zone. You couldn't get insurance on the panels. The panels are too heavy for the roofs that we have. So even though it was something we looked into, we have scoped it out. It just hasn't been feasible for our properties.
We also looked at wind.
I think that's-
Biomass. A little bit on the boilers, because I think Jack, you asked a question about efficiencies. The industry rule of thumb is that these older boilers, 60s, 70s, run at about 75% efficiency. The new boilers, you never get to 100, you're in the high 90s, 95, 96, 97. So if you put the Dingman's Elementary School, and it's 25% on your heating energy cost, it'd be just under $10,000 a year. Both boilers, and the estimate for that, it's an estimate, is $100,000. It'll take you about 10 years to pay back. Give you kind of we don't measure that, just knowledge tells you that based on the type of machine that you have and the technology that was used in those days, you don't get the high efficiency rating.
So now we'll look at that from the halo perspective. I've done it my own, my island. I suggested for others, customers like that. When I see that, say you save $10,000 a year and it's $100,000, so it takes you 10 years to buy it back to actually pay for them. But it's not take 3 years from now. The way I look at that is I just threw away $30,000. I was looking at that one. What I wasted, and I moved it up if we had the money. It's always about if you have the capital. But if you move it up, and it's a $100,000 job, a $100,000 cost. Well, moving it up 3 years, I've really saved $80,000 a year cost because I've thrown out $30,000 worth of savings by delaying it for 3 years. So that's why I was trying to get it.
We tackled roofs. Those of you who've been on the board for a number of years remember we had a lot of problems with the roofs. We got that behind us. We tried to prioritize to get upgraded, and the boilers is now on the list.
Because the difference between, like we talked about, what we were joking about last year, the technology that was there and the way that they sized these boilers in 1969. I mean, the old oil companies, what they actually used to do in a one-family house and say, Astoria, Queens. A guy from an oil company would show up. He'd stand across the street. This is God's on the street. He'd close one eye, and if he could block out that house with 3 fingers, that was a 3-section boiler. If he couldn't, it was a 4-section boiler. Heating oil, 28 cents a gallon. Nobody cared. But after 1973, everybody cared. But that's the way they used to size things up. And as crazy as it sounds, that was their rule of thumb. So, yeah, I like to save money.
And finally,
Appreciate the board's support because we spend a lot of your money maintaining these plants. But hopefully you feel like you get some value back on it.
the line with a couple of items from Jen. Some of the ideology-wise, to be more energy efficient, is we actually have automated shutdown from the PCs around the district after 10 o'clock or a certain time frame. Computers actually just shut themselves down, and then helps lower our carbon footprint as well, which everybody's trying to do globally. We also transitioned to Chromebooks, which has saved the district 50 to 60% in energy use just by the simple fact of notebook, and it's 50% waste when we go to throw it away. Well, not throw, bad term to use, but when we go to recycle it with an actual electronic recycler. Less. And then the battery sizes as well are much smaller, longer life, and that's what everybody's looking to do. The last thing is the multi-point thin client that we have in the elementary school, the new elementary school. It saved the district almost 800 PCs in the simple fact that you can use a single thin client server, and then you have a number of monitors work off of one server. So that was really a huge savings for what we were able to do there. And everybody logs in like it's their very own computer. So that was pretty much what we've done with technology, our PM work, as well as our work order system. Questions?
Come a long way.
We have, but it's been in a good way. I mean, it's been fantastic. Yeah, we've been supported really well. So that's the biggest key. You know, everybody's been on board with it.
How long did it take to create that jump program? I can't imagine identifying everything and then writing the program.
Well, we just had to do it again with DVES. You know, it's easy to go in and select 104 pieces of equipment and hit delete. But then when you have to go in and add I just told Marty, he's like, are you close to, because we roll it up every year. So 2017, immediately we'll start kicking out the new preventative maintenance work orders. And between 2 summers ago, we did the Dingman's Delaware Elementary School, added all of those C units, and in the high school, so we added those. So I was just telling Martin, it was 196 pieces of equipment between DVES this year and then some of the new stuff that we added here on this campus. So it's a lot, but well worth it. Well worth it.
You know, Marvin, you just said about, we thank the board for the support. We thank you for your hard work, and Chris as well. But getting money, when I see a program I'm very, most everybody will tell you, and it's annoying to people that I'm not methodical. That's a very efficient program we have. That saves money right there. But it also takes care of the equipment that we give you. You ask us for the money to do things, and all I ever would ask myself personally back is, hey, we bought this for you, please take care of it. And I've worked in other places, I've worked in school districts, and I've got in there when I'm just a plumber, nobody cares about me, they do things right out in front of me, and you gotta see the way they do it, but I walk in here and nobody seems to know who I am. And since the day my oldest daughter went to kindergarten, schools after, you honest to God don't see that. You see equipment being taken care of and cared for. You know? So I really appreciate the work that you do.
Well, one of the things he even did is he's even took a couple of the maintenance staff and had them trained on to repair our own custodial equipment, like the ride-on scrubbers. And rather than paying E.A. Morris to drive from Middletown over here to fix something, he sent 2 maintenance guys to a class. He made E.A. Morris create a class so that they could train the guys to fix our own equipment.
The contractors, I'll tell you that. Without work, anything that we think we can do, we teach them, train them, then we do that.
That was very impressive to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
One question,
Well done.
Barb, you mentioned biomass energy production. What's involved?
Biomass is a heating system that you can burn most anything in these burners. The homestead is outside wood burners that burn 80-foot hardwood, cardboard. Biomass is the same thing, but it's, most of what you burn is wood chips. And it'll burn anything. We went through it. The school district of 81, and they have a biomass system. They're a little cumbersome because they take a lot of space. We'd have to build it out by the maintenance shed someplace and then pipe it all into the buildings. And,
Not burning garbage.
That's for sure.
Not burning garbage.
No, actually, I was thinking about the outflow of the water treatment plant. I was wondering whether you had enough heads there to run a generator off of that.
Isn't there? I mean, you could run something minimal, maybe to like back to the wastewater treatment plant. Something like that. Yeah, absolutely, Dave. You're right. Got it.
And then the other thing we looked at was buses, right? But we're not there yet. And that was that liquid? Or what was it?
Compressed
compressed natural gas, CNG, right? And then there's some propane, right? Right now, with gas prices low, there's not a big demand available.
That was, it's not on the list, I just thought of it. A few years back, I put what they call a dual fire burner, Jackie probably heard of it. It burns natural gas and heating oil. So to get the gas company, they gave me the pipe and I wanted to, but we finally have the pipe in from the middle school to the high school. So now the two big boys in the high school, we can switch from natural gas to heating oil, depending on which one is most cost effective. Right now, natural gas is cost effective. And we've saved a lot of money.
They even have apps for that now where it goes by market fluctuations on a daily basis. You can flip it over. You can flip it over 3-4 times a day.
And UGI wanted to charge us $250,000 to run the pipes. And Marvin just kept giving him a hard time and giving him a hard time and giving him a hard time. Eventually got free. Years, but Marvin wore him down. They realized he wasn't retiring, so they gave him.
They can supply us everything we need. So we get down to like 9 degrees. We're on a variable supply system, so they tell us you gotta go back to heating oil until the temperature outside rises. Otherwise, John's father might have go out.
And the house would go out, yeah.
They burn up all these natural gas.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very, very good presentation. I appreciate it, the time that you put into that. All right, moving on, may I have a motion to approve minutes from your meeting on December 10th, please have motion Don and Jack. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing any opposed? Hearing no objections, the motion carries. We're now going to have our two high school students provide us with their report.
So first of all, we'd like to talk about our students in FBLA, that's Future Business Leaders of America. We had 39 students qualify for the state competition, and actually had about 5 more this morning were announced. So that will take place on April 3rd in Hershey. And then we want to recognize our athletes. Our wrestling team right now is first place in the Lackawanna League, and they're actually probably close to done. They had a match tonight against Wyoming Seminary, which is the #1 wrestling competition. Hope that one turned out well. Our swim team, girls and boys, are first place in the Lackawanna League. And basketball, just came off a tough non-league schedule to start this season, but they've been back and they have our Milford Rotary tournament here at the high school over winter break.
We also had this past week, at the beginning of the week, we had the Scholastic art show expose kind of thing. We had 9 silver finishers and 10 gold finishers who will be competing, pieces will be competing at the national level. Chorus, earlier January, we had 5 students represent DV, and then we had 2 move on to regional level. One of them ranked first in their voice part, which is huge out of 25. And also had other student was awarded the PMEA Scout for the whole choir as a whole. So that's all we have for you.
And just as an addendum, the boys basketball team, with 4 minutes to go, was down by 12 points and scored the last 16 points of the game. That's how never die. It was a wonderful thing to sit to watch them win the whole tournament, get the trophy was a great thing.
I'd just like to congratulate Molly. I'm very proud of her. She was accepted to the college, the University, Pace University in New York. That's where I went to school.
Thank you.
It's got all stronger.
I hope they only, it was a grass roof when I went there. Now they've updated these. Very glad to see you.
Thank you. Thank you, Molly and Matt. You're welcome to stay, but if you'd like to get going.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll move on administrative and inputs. Any comments? Questions? Jim, you were busy with CTE. A lot going on. I don't know if you want to just mention anything briefly for the press or.
Well, we did get the supplemental equipment grant, and we're upgrading 2 pieces of equipment there in the grant. The industrial mixer we bought, we're replacing is original equipment that was in the shop since it was built back in the 70s, and it was time to get the new sliding will have all this safety equipment that should be available for with kids working with the equipment. So we're happy with that. Our new CTE teacher, Mr. Niosi, is doing a great job in our culinary arts program. Again, I went to his OAC meeting, and he did get a couple of new members to join. You approved them last month, and we're happy to have their input into the program.
And you had a positive report. I don't remember that was state.
A couple years back, if you remember, we had a technical assistance visit that was arranged because we have a career tech program in our high school. And that's a team of people that come in from around the state to look at our programs and give us a lot of suggestions. And person from the Southern Regional Education Board spearheaded in 2014, and they came out again and met with Dr. Blom and I and went through a midpoint review of where we're at. They made many suggestions and gave us many ideas to implement in our high school. And Dr. Lamont, who came out from the Southern Regional Education Board, was very impressed with the progress that we've made here at the high school in the last couple of years, high school and program, and said that they were going to pass on that information to the state. So we're moving definitely in the right direction.
Good job. Thank you.
Thanks.
And,
Thanks to the effort you guys put in and the effort that Dr. Blom and his staff do put into the high school.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to financial report. Comments? Questions? If not, we'll move on to Dr. Bell's superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you. The first Jarius school directors, each of you got a certificate from PSBA at your seats tonight. We did the shirts for you last month. They gave you a certificate this month. So, but congratulations for that too, because we do appreciate it. Many people don't realize it's an unpaid job. You know, you're giving what I used to call 4 hours a month. This month we're a little over, but you know, you're 4 hours a month. Of, you're giving up time with your friends and your family. So we do appreciate you for that. The second thing, Pam asked me to talk about the state budget. Depending on how you look at it, somewhere 600, almost 700 million short. So they're doing all kinds of things. They're eliminating any unfilled positions at this level. They'll consolidate departments. They're talking about closing, I think, 2 prisons. So they're doing a lot that would to try to close that gap that they have in the current budget before they even start talking about the next budget. So you'll be seeing more about that. The biggest thing right now is they're talking about putting school property tax, replacing it with higher income sales taxes. And it's such a big thing to get your hands around. I'm gonna make that, I'm gonna do a big presentation to you guys at the February work session so you can really understand it. There's lots of ramifications. The brand new formula, remember I testified 2 years ago about the new basic education formula with things like poverty and ELL and special ed, all that will go out the window. Basically, whatever you're at this year, you'll get a cost of living adjustment next year. Doesn't matter if you add 1,000 kids or you lose 1,000 kids. Doesn't matter if you get more special ed kids or you lose special ed kids. Whatever you're at this year, you would get a cost of living adjustment each year going forward. So wherever you are, so if you raise taxes to the index for 10 years and grow budget up your baseline for the next decade or so, if you've done what we did, which was the prudent thing, and 7 times out of 10, we didn't raise taxes. That's now gonna come back to haunt us in the respect that we're gonna have a lower baseline going forward. Because it doesn't, none of those factors are gonna be in this equation. It's just, where you are this year, whatever the cost of living is, that's what you get next year. About what we, if this goes through, we won't talk about what our tax rate will be. We will know what our revenue is. We're just gonna be talking about the expenditure side of what are we gonna do to meet that threshold, wherever it is. So it's gonna be really interesting. I'll give you a lot of details on it.
Getting word to the legislators is very important. For instance, Rosemary Brown, we're a very small portion of her district, and that benefit a lot of her other districts.
Absolutely.
Where it's going to hurt us. So it's really up to us to get our voices heard.
And last year when they tried this in the Senate, the vote was somewhat probably 424 was the time, which is a defeat. They project that it's going to be 27-22 with the changes in the state Senate that it's going to pass. So then it will go to the House. And the House tends to be even more conservative than the Senate. So the question is, if it gets jacked, will the governor veto it or not? So right now, all the attention is on our senators. And Senator Baker did vote in favor of this bill last year, 76. Because, everybody, if you're a legislator, you're sick and tired of listening to everybody complain about school taxes. That's the thing they get beat up on and they have no control of. So if they can make school taxes go away, they want to have the process. So came with Senator Baker and said, listen, it looks like this is going to go through the Senate. Have you taken these 12 things into consideration? One of the things we talked about is about a third of the houses in our district are owned by people that live out of state. And they will now have no income, no property tax, but they aren't going to pay any more income tax because they don't pay income tax to us. So you can see how holes happen on different things. Mortgage interest, your taxes.
Yes,
your
that's
taxes
people
are
don't realize
deductible.
what they're going to lose there. Yeah.
Right. Your property taxes are deductible, but if it becomes a sales tax, there's no deduction. So they estimate that Pennsylvania will send $600 million more in taxes to Washington just in this change. Because you're going to go from paying a tax that has a deductibility to taxes that don't have deductibilities. So I'll do the full in early February at the work session, but I just want to tip you off to it. It's a mess, and it's a runaway train that has a lot of momentum against us. So the question, we probably can't stop it. The question is, can we make sure we help craft the legislation that it happens properly, or at least there a draft version of that last year. So, and the only other thing I was going to tell you about, right now we have the SPP, the School Performance Profile. I had a webinar yesterday about with a new governor, with a new secretary of change. It's not heavily based on this and keystones. All for more bonus points for schools like us that have AP exams or schools that have international baccalaureate program. More well-rounded score. It's just not focused on the state technical. So I'll get you more information about that as well. But that is certainly good news from a practitioner standpoint, that it will take into more things other than state tests. So that's a good thing.
Just getting back to this tax taxes, I believe part of that also was that any loans that a district has for buildings will still remain a property tax until it's paid off.
Yes, so people think it's going to disappear, but it won't disappear. It'll be less, but it's not going to disappear right away.
Right. So you're still going to get a tax bill for whatever the construction is, but that's for construction and loans that were taken before that change. And I understand. I don't know how that actually.
And the thing we're really holding to Senator Baker about is where is that drop dead date going to be? In the bill last time, the drop dead date was December 31st, the middle of the school year. If they do that this year, then the $10 million for CTE will not be to make June 30th the drop dead date. Then the borrowing we did for CTE can be part of that smaller tax bill for debt. Because if it's not part of that debt, then we just have to absorb it into our annual budget. We can't bill it out there separately. So it's very interesting. So the question is, will we be able to bill for 30 million or 40 million, on our borrowing? So it's crucial that it's not December 31st. And some date after, that's a big deal for us. They say about the average district percent of their property tax is debt. So theoretically, your taxes would drop 82%, but you'd still have a tax. You'd still be paying, the average taxpayer would be paying about 8% of it, because that's a portion of state. Ours is much less than that. We actually, in the data they had on the books, they had us at 0, because we had paid off all our debt. They were looking at data from a few years ago. So we called and said, hey, just make sure you know, we've already taken 30, another 10 coming down the right away. So, and next month we'll talk about if the deadline is June 30th, do we want to borrow any more money for any of those future projects and do them now before they become after the deadline? Because after the deadline, all projects become a referendum. They have a referendum, so that's a big change. So, okay, I said too much about it already. Sorry. That's
So
it.
don't you think Governor Wolf's going to be able to, aren't they going to be able to override the veto or you need for that?
2/3. So they could pass it in the Senate last time. Can they get 2/3? They could probably pull it off in the House. I don't know about the Senate. So, it sounds like it's probably too big of a chore.
But certainly we should borrow more, and instead of doing the funding the way we're doing it, borrow it all, so that we have control over that.
Right. That's why I said to Billy the other day, as we get some more details in the next couple of weeks, we may want to do some more borrowing for these future, like the science labs, things like that, before it's too late. So that'll come down the pipe, and hopefully I'll have more for you before that work session, so we can strategize about future, okay? And the thing is, this year, because this will be the last year for us to be able to have a tax increase that we control. This is after this year, you lose all control. Is you're only going to have control of expenditure side. So it's going to be a whole different ballgame if it's fast. It's dramatic change.
I think it's the 4th time that it's coming up.
I think so, yeah. And they thought they had it last time, and some guy was on medical leave and was going to vote for it. And so they couldn't get him out of the hospital. It was a 24 time. All right.
Well, at least you didn't think during the meeting.
That's after here, right?
Yep.
You have a memory.
May I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
Second.
Jack and Brian, any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing objections, motion carries. May I have a motion for payment, which include the general fund, cafeteria fund, capital reserve fund, and 2016 construction fund?
Motion?
John, second. And Don, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no objections, the motion carries. May I have a motion to approve personnel items including resignations, appointments, child rearing leave, change of status, and change of salary?
So moved.
Jack and Jack. Second? Corey? Oh, I'm sorry, we have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. You do those responses. You have to touch the mic. Hearing no objections, the motion carries. We now need a motion to move into executive session to discuss a student issue. Those in favor?
Yeah.
Actually, we're waiting on Jack. You can say you're 53 again, Jack. Oh, 54.
Well, what's that, starting next year, they're gonna tell you what you're gonna do.
Right.
If the latest, right, this year we'll set the baseline, what we do as a rule agency. Are we gonna set the taxes in the spring for next year and that be the final year, or is it too late? And is this current year that we're in already gonna be the baseline? You can't do anything if this is the baseline, because we're already halfway through it. So that's what we're waiting to see.
I have a motion to action to the action.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? And the motion carries. May I have a motion to approve additional volunteers per your attachment?
Motion. So,
John and Jack, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? The motion carries. May I have a motion for Cheryl Nielsen to complete her special education supervisory internship for Slippery Rock University for the 2016-2017 spring semester?
So moved.
Ryan?
Second.
And Corey. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no objections, the motion carries. May I have a motion for Nathan to complete his administrative internship for Wilkes University for the 2016-17 spring semester?
So moved. Second.
Discussion?
what actually is this? Because I really this now.
This is a program that our teachers do if they want to become administratively certified. So in order, before they could ever be considered either here or elsewhere for an administrative job, they've got to earn their certificate. So this is like the next level for them.
This doesn't require.
No, it's on top of his regular teacher, so we still got him.
I'd agree, I really am impressed with this man.
He's something, yeah, he really is.
I'd agree to anything for him, but I just would be sad to see him go for anything.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing no objections, the motion carries. May I have a motion for the expulsion of student 2016-2017 1003746 for the remainder of the 2017 school year? All those in favor say aye.
Need a second.
Oh, I'm sorry, second. Corey? Thank you, Corey. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing no objections, the motion carries. May I have a motion to approve board policies 007, which is policy access, 117, request for temporary excuses from school and homebound instruction, and 827, conflict of interest. Brian, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no objections, the motion carries. May I have a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the level bids for 2017-2018? Jack?
Second.
And Jack. Do we need to publicize?
They're all here.
Oh, okay. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no objections, the motion carries. May I have a motion to approve the resolution as presented authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds of the Delaware Valley School District for funds for improvements to the Career Project Program and other capital projects of the Delaware Valley School District?
So moved.
Brian
Second.
and Jack. Any discussion? And we'll need a roll call vote.
Okay,
Yes.
Brian Carson.
Yes.
Jack Fisher,
Yes.
Corey Homer,
Yes.
Pam Lutfi,
Yes.
Jack O'Leary,
Yes.
Chuck Pike,
Yes.
John Robleski.
Yes.
That motion carries.
So at this point, all that needs to be done now is, for him to sign whatever documents and Jack. We don't need to meet again to approve anything else.
Right.
After the auction takes place, you just need their
Yeah,
signature.
Pam, there's a bunch of documents tonight.
Okay.
Then on the day that the bonds are physically sold, when the every night, the rating agency phone call to me and all that thing has to happen still over the next few weeks. Time in February, will most likely be the sale. Try and let you know what day, so you need to be in town that day.
Okay.
That's the only signature I need.
Okay. Moving
Congratulations to the board. This has been a long time coming. And now we have the funding for a project we've been talking about. And I won't say how many years we've been on the board. It's been a long time that we've been talking about it. So congratulations to the whole board.
Thank you, everyone. That's nice. We're going to move on now to approval of the capital projects listed in a facility study and approved summary for the 2017 to 2020 years as per the presentation on January 12th, 2017.
Now, just to give you the highlights, we did move everything, like we said, everything that you wanted to move to different years, we did. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Motion.
Second.
Hey, Jack and John, any discussion?
So we did move everything from year to year, like you had asked us to do. Jess had asked a question about the tennis courts, if we were seeking grants, when was the strategic time? When we talked to Jim Martin, both sets of tenants are in the summer of 2018, because he thinks our best bet is to go for a large grant that would pay a good chunk, but they want us at 30, they want us to pay 30%, is that the goal, the target?
But yeah, look at it the other way, that they may get as much as 200. Combining the two of them, the local match would be the difference.
Yeah,
If we're fortunate enough to.
So we would go for it in 17, where you could then use it in the summer of 18. So they're both in 18. And then the other thing too is Chuck, you have the lights on the courts, and that number is 184, 185,000. So we have two different versions for you tonight. We have a version with the lights for the tennis court, and we have a version for you without the lights for the tennis court. It was about 130 in lighting, and then they threw in 50 for, because that was about how much electrical work was going to need to be done to run lights out there.
Yeah, but we're not approving that tonight, because that's for next year.
Well, we were going to approve the whole CapEx list. Things might move around, like we find out we got to wait a year for the grant. But the idea is,
So we have to decide on the lighting tonight now?
well, my recommendation is we take it out. Because it's just a lot more than a week is gonna be. So I always thought it might be a 50, maybe I was foolish, but so we have two different versions of the project, one with the lights in and one with the lights out. So my recommendation is let's forget the lights out. We have so many other needs, like things like food science labs and that.
You know, I think, John, for the lighting, I would think that we would be able to find other ways to design lighting, you know, that maybe don't meet competition, you know, level or something. When you go out for a quote, to someone like Moscow, we had a quote getting their Cadillac version, with a lot of light studies involved, and, you know, something that if people wanted to extend their track time, I would think that you could do with some LED floodlighting that would be substantially less than $8,000.
Yeah.
So that would be something we handle separately.
We can just internally light, right? They have, which version they have? They have a version with the lights in.
They have the version presented.
Yeah.
I have the other version without it, if you would like that handed out.
Can we hand that out? Can we hand out the version without the lights in it?
Please.
So that you'll have both?
Okay.
This is final number B, not the one we got set.
Right, this afternoon had the lights in it.
Have the lights in it.
The attachment that you have electronic, it has the lights in it. This one doesn't have tennis court.
We would just make sure this gets in the formal board minutes.
The corner.
Well, not that about.
John?
We need to read that to the minutes, or you're just gonna put that in?
We'll change the attachment, right, Joe? So we can just change the attachment, right? Okay.
So in terms, are we still talking?
Yeah, yeah.
In terms of procedure, by ratifying 5 years worth of CapEx, does the next board get a chance to review this?
Well, last time we did it, the board approved a 3-year CapEx, 12, 13, 14, and then we pushed some of the 14 into 15, so it became a 4-year.
But suppose a whole year, they don't want to do these projects. Have we committed them? Any of it?
Well, I guess they could vote to rescind. Wouldn't they? They could, I mean, right now you can vote to approve these projects, but they could vote to rescind any of that because a lot of these have to come back, will be bidded.
Right.
You know, so then there would be an option there where they would say no to the bids and things of that nature.
There is a question I have on this. When we were going over this last year, every school has a portion at the very last security. I was gonna cover this security cameras, and I decided to do the cameras. Why is that money still in there?
Well, I guess that's one of our discussions tonight, is in terms of priority. And I think you all received my email, John, you got a copy of it, I'm sure, and Bill, that I heard a wonderful statement this week from one of the Tillerson for, I guess, Secretary of State, and he said, if everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. But, in terms of priorities, some of the things that are here should be pushed back a number of years, and some of the things that have been pushed back a number of years should be pushed forward a number of years, especially after hearing from our STEM people today, that they have a diversity of classroom space. I thought it was very good. Like I said, Lori and I are an age. You know? They have some very old classrooms, new classrooms, and they make it work. However, to me, that would be a much greater priority than tennis courts, which are nice, security cameras, which are nice, maybe even telephone systems, which are nice. But I'd like us prioritize in a different one vote. but, it's just food for thought.
I would agree with you, Jeff, 100% on just about everything you said.
That makes me nervous. Why 4 years when priorities shift next year? And we're shifting goals around it next year.
Would you put 17?
I mean, personally, I think that would make the most sense because priorities shift year after year after year. We still have this as a guideline to work from.
Right.
Not to say we don't just go through next year with what it is, but we could also shift, which we did this year. So.
Well, we could say that could say approval of the capital projects listed approved in summary for summer 2017, and leave out the subsequent years because you may want to juggle things. And that gives you the flexibility.
I think it makes sense, and then also like what Jack's saying, that a lot of the things looking to 2018, we now know what's there, and we've got our column C.
Right.
So, we can have a lot more meetings.
John, the question I asked before really doesn't matter. There's $40,000 in there for SCS cameras. Because we're not dedicating that money to.
So it's in summer of 2017. We vote for just
40,000, right?
40 for each elementary school, 55 at the one middle. So if we were to just vote on the 17, we would be voting on these.
Right, but that's an item that would be a bid that we would have to later.
That one's on state contract.
It's on state contracts. So if we approve it here, we're automatically approving the cameras.
Right.
Yeah, I don't
Can we prioritize?
I don't think we were prepared
cameras,
for
or
the
do
camera.
you prefer just to remove it for now?
I think the way you look at it is we have a VHS system and we want to go to what do you call them? Disc. We want to go to a disc. We want to go from VHS to disc. And so the system,
So you can't do one school at a time.
I don't think you can. Where'd Chris go? Can we do a school and for cameras as long as we buy the head end equipment for that school? Or are we not be able to, are we mixing Beta and Sony?
Right. I mean, if we, yes, we could go individually, and then we just have to manually do it for 4 or 5 different sites at a time to do. It wouldn't all be under one system,
Right.
but we could make it work.
So I
It's
think
definitely
that
not ideal, but we could make it work.
what I'd like to do is take what's in the core, which is the most, and put that system in there and then get a feedback 6 months from now, 8 months from now, on how that's working. Because there were a number of items that we discussed in executive session, I won't bridge that, that we would like to see upgrades to. So as we go down the road, I think that'll give us more flex. Let's do 1, how it works, and then move on to 2 and 3 all next year. But like I said, I'd like to see the priority list change to bring the science classrooms and the math classrooms that O'Brien mentioned a few months ago about teaching math classroom on which I was
We have to understand, there's always, you don't teach in a room, because otherwise you're building too many rooms, because they don't teach all 7 periods.
I understand.
Now, if you can get the union to approve them to teach 7, then everybody would get their room, because they'd be in the room every period. But it's silly to have unused classrooms.
So even with that, I think in terms of priorities, those priorities to me for the next 12 months are more important than tennis courts and cameras and things like that. But I didn't get you all email in advance, so you knew what it was going to be.
Well, I know, but we spent a considerable amount of time at the December meeting
To jump all of that.
Sorry, but the introduction,
So Pam, I would make a motion to amend the motion to read approval of the capital projects listed in the facility study improvement summary for 2017. As the presentation of 2017.
I'll second that.
Just for the record, that's the version without the lights.
Right.
Okay. And we'll swap them in the board minutes.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no objections, the motion carries. May I have an approval of a one-time $17,500 payment to the Pike County Public Library for the cooperative arrangement of student services rendered?
So moved.
Jack
Second.
and Jack, any discussion?
Yes, I thought from our last meeting with the librarian, we were talking about putting this in column C as new spending, that we wanted to make this part of our budget discussion.
Jack did then ask if we could put it on.
Oh, okay.
Because we had promised them, they were told we would talk to them.
I remember that now, yes,
Yes.
yes, putting just for now, but then for this is the process.
And the fund,
Just a one time for this.
could you describe the funding?
Then we could take this from budgetary reserve, which
At some point, you could do this motion and then we do have the budgetary reserve. But we know we have other movements of money, so towards the end of the year. And we
Okay,
can,
let us know.
yeah, we can,
All right, you'll-
And
in
Can we just
our
put-
library, our library budget as a, in my opinion, is with the cooperative arrangement that we're doing. It's part of the library, under miscellaneous purchase of services. You know, whether it's the summer school, the books, or whatever they're doing with that type of service, rather than what you would kind of consider a donation. If everyone agrees with that, that's where I will put it as an extension of our library budget. Our library's budget.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The 17.5 though, in that number, we arrived at.
Jack.
we used to give 35,000 a year.
Right,
We dropped it to 17,500 over 5 years ago, John. You weren't here. last
Yeah,
time.
right.
Over 5 years ago, we paid them. So we went back to the 17,500, which was the last round we had to do.
okay, and I just want a reminder for anyone who wasn't here, the library does go through the process of applying for grants, which directly benefit the school district monetarily, and I believe it was almost 17 that we got just recently, is that right? Yeah.
There was some correlation between the numbers. That's the issue.
I don't know, I have a objection to donating money to, I know we're not terming a donation. And I support the library, I would support a library tax. But I don't support us raising taxes and buying that for the library, when there's not a direct correlation to services, rendered. We've danced around this a few meetings to try to justify giving money, coming up with ideas for here's why we should give it to them, or here's why we should give it to them. But to me, there's nothing concrete enough that says this is why we're giving them money. And in the absence of this money, this service wouldn't be.
Yeah, I've grappled with this all week, as I know, a lot of us have. And I share ultimately Chuck's opinion. As much as I support the library, I think in our current budgetary and economic circumstances, it's up to the county voters and county residents to support the library. And the best way to do that is either through the county budgetary process or through a library tax. But when we have gone through lists of things like improving the science classrooms and so on, list of projects we would like to do, and just philosophically, I have a hard time extending this money to the library for the same reason.
They did not raise taxes last year. This money did not come from the raising of taxes. It came from taxes that were already there. Budgetary reserve is an item we typically don't spend every year.
I'd say we spend it on some science classrooms.
Or in our own library.
Yeah.
Well, I have a little bit of a different point of view. I think the library open during the summer, when ours are practically not open at all. I think it's providing a valuable resource to our students. And we have an obligation to support the library that's providing that service. It's certainly not the only service they provide to our students. They provide many. And I agree that that service would probably not disappear without this $17,500. The library is under financial stress, And it's possible that in the future, those summer hours would have to be cut down. Unless the library continues to get some support. So I am in favor of it.
Said a lot about the library, and you know what I learned from John Robolewski's years of experience on this board. Hopefully, if I get that many years on this board, I'll learn how to limit my volume in my speaking time, and I can tweet, you know. I asked John Robolewski, plain and simple, what did you get from the library when you gave them money? And he gave me the best answer I've heard to any question in quite a bit. He said, we got a community for our children. And that was the one I could really answer. If I had sat down, I could have made you all the speeches I've made.
And if they follow through with their proposal to provide something additionally for the special needs students of our district, I would be most appreciative of this.
Yeah, I'm really grappling with this one as well. Kind of, I feel, Brian, I really wish there was some hard initiative that this money was going for. If our librarians worked with them to come up with an initiative that was really, that we could say that we got to return our investment here. I just wish there's a little bit more solidified.
This is a gamble, we won't know.
I know I hate gambles.
I know you hate gambles, but life is full. It's not so much as a
So
gamble.
we can build on that for the next, on this Schedule C. We'll see how it works this year, and we'll see how they can improve on that next year.
I
And if
guess
they
I'm
can improve it, it won't make it out of column.
gone. I mean, there's nothing that they're saying that it's going for is the problem. I
And
know
we're saying it's going for, if they were to cut the summer program, we would.
right, but they're not cutting the summer program.
Well, if their finances get more dire, that was one of the areas she mentioned.
And at that point, I'd say then we donate something along those lines because increasing services for our community.
Can't wait till the doors close, you know.
This is preventive.
But it's more, I mean, it,
Don't give me now.
Using your words.
and it's, I mean, we talked about a lot, and it's something I was, you know, I was completely against it, because I'm against giving money we're taking from taxpayers for the school, to put it towards something else, and then learning of the history that it's something that historically we had always done in the last 25 years. Think about things, Peg, that would help with library cards, and I don't remember the specifics of it, but that would take a lot off of us
Coming to open house
administratively.
nights and PTA meetings with the computer and setting it up.
Right.
Doing it.
Right, so
and
ways
having
to
the
encourage-
Permission set.
I love that idea. Instead of mentioning that last one, again, it's a great plan.
I mean, if there is a direct benefit, I don't know how you, price-wise, but the one direct benefit is that we no longer have summer hours for our libraries except the whole. You know, so that's 6 schools that we don't have a summer library. Now, the quantify of the $1,000 each, you know, so that equivalent might be 6,000 is my point, you know. But it's not this number, but at least that is something we don't do anymore. We built a library that's much better than the old library, we didn't do it. And our hours were not exactly convenient, they were usually, you know, from 10 to 2, 1 day a week.
And I didn't mean to say it's a gamble card. It's like I'm saying, it's like, I was very in favor of the Leader in Me program because what I read about it. But I didn't actually see it working, you know? So I was pushing and pushing for that, and I know Chuck did as well because he wanted to see stuff like this. But we didn't know how it was gonna work. I didn't know how it was gonna work until I seen all those kids getting launched in here.
It's an initiative that we put
It
money
was
for.
$38,000 per school.
If we wanted to say we want to do a Leader in Me program at the library,
Right.
that's different.
Well, the thing is, that the library does offer, what I see, is so many households, that's the computer, that so many kids go home to at night. That's the only computer in that household. But the parents on something else, so the kid doesn't get to use it. And how many kids do we see, mom, when kids, what do they do with it? Do they go to Wikipedia, or do they go to Google? No, they go to whatever game you got on there, and they're doing this like crazy. You know? a computer in a library. Kids aren't going to do that. You don't see anybody gaming on a computer libraries. So, no. It's,
I just think it ought to be up to the county. Us to figure it out.
Any further discussion? So we may need to bring in the meter for measuring the decibels here.
I just appreciate everybody giving these people a yes or a no, whichever vote the conscience, I do appreciate that. Just yes or no to them so we can tell them. So that'll be-
So all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Corey, Dawn, Brian.
New spending that isn't absolutely necessary. It's not going to
Like I said, it's a matter of which side.
You said that, I said yes. And you said yes.
You said yes.
Chuck, you said no, so it's 4-4, okay.
It does.
So 24 in the Senate for the taxes.
And it can be awakened again.
You know, one of the things talk about municipalities, Damon did $18,000 for the library, and I think Leland Township gives a couple thousand, and Wallenthal gives 5,000 to the Pike County Library, gives more to the Wayne County Library. But none of the other municipalities in the county pay a dime for their own county library. Isn't that a shame?
Yeah, it is.
That's why it'll never happen.
Moving on, just a reminder that the following board policies are still in review. 209, health examinations and screenings. 237, electronic communication devices. 251, homeless students. 810.2, use of audio video recording school bus. So just a reminder, events or anything pertaining to those, please schedule into Julie so she can share them with John and the staff. I have a motion moving to exec to discuss a personnel issue.
So moved.
Brian and John.
Now, we're gonna be about 30 to 45 minutes. We don't know if we will vote or not, so if you don't want to stay, you can certainly call Julie in the morning to say we 45 minutes. We don't know, I don't know whether it's right, I'm not sure if anybody knows, so that's why we're having the discussion. So there may be a personnel item, or there may not be a personnel item. Julie's number is 296-1804, if you want to call her in the morning.
She might still.
Don't put her number in the paper.
What time is good?
What time do you get in, Jules? 7? Time after, you can call her anytime after 7.
Preferred time, more,
She's here, she's here.
is 9 okay?
Yeah, she'll send it.
Okay.
I'm around, so here. She got the last name.
Is that on the next meeting? And that's February 9th, stuff, so work session. Here in the administrative office.
Everybody else can.
Well, I do wield a lot of power.
Yeah.
You need to turn under business.
Only after you back in
Yeah.
session first.
Yeah.
You go.
And then she'll read the announcements.
Yeah.
You guys do.
That's why you have.
Good night.
Good night.
Did you take your time? No. He said he gave me the books because he said, oh, I would.
I think you're skipping.
No, I'm all right about it.
Oh, I already told them when the meeting. So I guess
So
we
we
could
have to
just
come
adjourn.
back as a public session. And since you already did an announcement, then we could just.
My mother told me she was just PMA, stuff.
Alright. Need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to return.
Second.
Okay, and thank you. Any discussion?
Jackson here.
I gotta be at work at 6:15 in the morning.
Motion.
And so, thank you. So may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Corey and Chuck.
Aye.
Everybody.